Hey, back on Daybreak Live for a Monday morning. We're joined by Representative Ben Robbins, District 33 State Representative. And Ben, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Jimmy Dale.
Good to have you. I saw you and your family at Sunshine Saturday, and you've added an addition to your little boy. Who's the other family member there?
Well, he's actually been around longer than he has, Bruno. So we have a Great Dane. Bruno's actually 8 years old now, so he's old for a Great Dane.
Pretty good size.
He is. He's 125 pounds.
Have to work to feed him, right?
That's true.
Oh, we're in the legislative session in Montgomery, and tomorrow you go back to work there, but you've been at work for a while. Tell us what's going on with District 33.
Well, there's a lot of stuff happening in District 33, a lot of positives. I think one thing that I mentioned to you before is that in the governor, so we right now have what's called a supplemental budget because we have extra money in the state. And in that extra supplemental education budget, we got $18 million from the governor dedicated towards the construction of earth at Avondale Mills. And that stayed in the Senate. So the Senate kept it in, and now it's in the House. And I've gotten promises from the Senate committee and the Senate chair, or the House chair, that it's going to stay. So that's exciting. That I feel very positive that we're going to get $18 million.
What does that mean?
That means that with that money and with the money that we've already gotten from other partners and corporate donations, we will be able to build earth, in my opinion. We will be a little short after that, but we'll be able to raise that remaining amount. So that means that I feel very confident that earth will be built at Avondale and everything will be cleaned up. It'll be a brand new buildings there, cleaned up. We'll have education and training happening.
It's almost unimaginable after sitting there vacant for all these years, you know?
It really is, and it's unimaginable. I mean, I think it's already starting to look better.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah. Now, for people who may not know, what does EARTH mean?
Well, it stands for the East Alabama Rural Innovation and Training Hub. So it'll be tailored towards the citizens of East Alabama, and it'll be for innovation incubation, those people that want to start businesses and they don't know where to go to get that head start on how do I start my own business. And then also be a training hub, which will be a traditional workforce development center, but it'll be partnering with local business and industry on what skills they need now and what skills they'll need in the future for their employees.
What does it mean for South Talladega County?
It means it'll be tremendous. It will provide us, one, with a better workforce. It'll be a job recruitment tool in that if we bring a company here, we can show them what employees they are going to get and how they can train their employees in a low-cost, effective manner. It's going to create new businesses and spin-off industries from that.
State Representative District 33, Ben Robbins, our guest this morning. Our children are our greatest asset. Our schools are so important. Social media, and I've said this for years, social media can be a good thing, can be a good tool, but it can also be detrimental, especially to our children. There's so much out here about child pornography and stuff like this, and you're working on something in Montgomery to kind of put this out of business a little bit.
I'm trying to. So what I've got a bill that's going to be in committee on Wednesday, and what it does is I use the example of virtual bouncer, where now what I want to do is that if you go to a website that has adult material, there will be a landing page where you have to verify your age before you can then go to the actual website. And so minors will not be able to verify their age. We do this when you go to buy cigarettes. If you tried to go into a club, a bouncer will check your ID. Why not create a virtual one that makes you check some sort of identification or verify your age? And we will make these businesses register with the state, and if they refuse to register, then the Attorney General will also have a mechanism to go after them for failing to register with the state. And if they fail to verify people's age, the Attorney General can go after them. And not only that, a parent could sue them for damages to their children.
Yeah. Wow.
So hopefully that will, and I don't know if you saw, but something similar to this happened in Utah, and certain websites just said, we won't even be in Utah anymore.
I'd like that here.
And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're getting a little pushback on it too, aren't you?
I am a little bit. That always happens, but the kind of some of the tech companies have a little issue with this, because it's money to them.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's about protecting our children. It's making sure that, this is causing mental harm to our children, I think. I think it's creating a society where we're desensitized to violence. We're a little more desensitized to the way we treat men and women. And so we've got to do something to combat that.
And it's so easy now, Ben, for kids to access this kind of material.
It is. I'm a big proponent. We talk about it all the time on we've got to expand broadband. We've got to make sure but that's for our educational opportunities. And it's making sure that kids can perform in school. But we don't want to then open up broadband and then have people connecting to that information highway that allows them to connect to information and images that they can't process and comprehend.
You talked earlier in the conversation about extra money, excess money that we have in Montgomery during this session. Where did this money come from, and how are we doling it out?
Well, Earth is getting a very large portion of it. So the reason that we have some extra money is because we budgeted. We set our budget for last year, and more tax revenue came in. And I
wish my budget worked that way.
I know, I wish it did too. So that's what the governor talked about, rebates. That's part of the rebate discussion.
Is that going to happen, you think?
Not at the amount that the governor wanted. We have decided to set aside some rainy day funds instead of the full rebate. Yeah. Which I personally, I know people want the rebate, but when lean times come for the state, it's nice to have that reserve.
And they will,
And they will. And so it'll be nice that we have a rainy day fund that we can tap into to help balance our budgets then.
Yeah, and taking care of the monies in our state is y'all's responsibility.
Right.
And we talk about businesses. We talk about businesses relocating in Coosa and Talladega County, and this Westwater Resources and this graphite processing plant in Coosa County. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, it has the potential. I think I've said before. It has and I'll say again. It has the potential to basically create a whole new ecosystem, almost a whole new economy, because it's going to recruit industries that are different than what we already have because of the graphite. And as we transition to more electric vehicles, battery manufacturing, graphite is one of the key components in batteries. And so it'll just be a matter of time before more industries come across East Alabama, whether it be in Coosa, Tallapoosa, Talladega, that are connected to that electric vehicle battery manufacturing. And so I just see it as the future, and we're at the cutting edge of the future here in Coosa and Talladega counties.
What can we expect? I think you was telling me that the session ended in early June. What can we expect from here on out with the session?
Well, we have to pass our budgets. The general fund, so in Alabama we have two budgets, a general fund and an education budget. The general fund budget now just needs to be approved by the Senate, and the education budget needs to be approved by the House. And there'll be some hot button issues as we get further down right towards the end of the session. But really what you're going to see is we're not going to take up some of the more contentious issues this session like gaming and lottery, but we are going to pass our budgets. And that's something that we have to do. So that's what I'd keep an eye on, is that we're going to pass our budgets, which are going to be very strong budgets, which will give a rebate, which will provide for our education, will provide teacher salary pay increases and support staff pay increases.
With the legislative session ongoing now, what are the pros and cons of the lottery in Alabama? Other states have got it all around Alabama. We have people from Alabama go and get involved in the lottery in other states. What are the pros and cons for Alabama?
I think that there's pros and cons to most anything. Some of the pros, this has not been Robbins. This is an argument, someone would make is the pro would be that, that's possibly new tax revenue. The con would be, well, it's not really new revenue. It's just people spending money on lotteries that would have spent it on other things. The same dollars. It's just Alabama money floating around. One pro would be is that people are going to out of state to do it, and so they're spending money in Georgia, Tennessee, or Florida as opposed to in the state of Alabama. And then there's the argument a con would be for some people that there's a moral issue attached to the lottery.
Yeah, no doubt about it. State Representative District 33 Ben Robbins, our guest this morning for a few more minutes on the show, and this is your first full term. What's the difference in now than when you first started?
Well, now there's a whole lot of new people that have been elected. So somehow I looked at it as a little bit of an older person to them. So they, I get asked questions, or how do we handle this or do that. So that actually is helpful, because then you gain a little seniority. Granted, I don't have as much as many people, but I have a little bit, which is helpful. And I've learned a lot more about how just to manage bills, how to manage personalities, when to push back on certain issues, when to pick my battles more. Mm-hmm.
3 different places I went to last week in the same visit, 3 different places, and they're all short of workers, labor. That's a real struggle for us in Alabama. Why is that?
Well, there's a lot of reasons, and I agree that we have a major labor shortage in this country right now, not just in our part of the world, but the whole country has a labor crisis right now. One is, the influx of money due to COVID. I mean, there's been an influx which has allowed people to leave their jobs, go to other jobs, or go sidelined from working for a long period of time. But that is one of the other reasons. The top reason, according to the governor's office, is lack of transportation. That people say they can't get to and from work. So that's one of the things that we're going to be doing at Earth is we're hopefully going to be creating an employment pipeline. So we're going to be trying to grab children when they're in high school and creating a pipeline so they can get to work as soon as they graduate with a skill and a trade. So what we're trying to do is we're seeing where the writing on the wall is. There's not enough work. There's not enough people with skills and not enough people with trades. And so what we want to do is flip that script here in Talladega County and create a pipeline of skills and trades so we can get our employees basically.
What do you foresee in 3 years with this Earth project here?
I see it built. I see it getting off the ground.
And it's almost mind-boggling to even think that could happen,
It is, because we're talking major investment in this community. And I see that what it can do, what it will do is what I just talked about. I see that we will be working with companies like, whether it be a Resolute or whether it be at the quarries, on what are the skills you need, whether it's heavy equipment operating or it's a machinist. And we'll be training people and providing transportation to them to work to get them kind of wean them to a job over time, as opposed to, you graduate high school and then we'll just go find a job. And some people don't have that support system around them, and we will provide that support system. And not only that, we will provide them skills to go and be adults that are earning a salary, paying taxes, and being good citizens.
When this was first announced, it was talked about the Earth Project, and it perked a lot of people's attention in the local area because it was mentioned that somewhere in the future, B.B. Comer could have a football stadium there. Is that a possibility still, or is that something that's pie in the sky, or what?
That's something that is going to be with the Talladega County Board of Education. And so there's multiple phases to the development. The first phase of the development is the building of Earth. Later down the line will be, I don't want to speak 100% for Dr. Lacey, but part of the plan is down the line there will be a football stadium and a walking track and other activities across the street for B.B. Comer.
Yeah, we always think about our kids and our grandkids, and something possibility for them down the line. You talked about our Board of Education, whether it's Sylacauga City Schools or Childersburg or Fayetteville or Talladega County Schools. We've got a great, tremendous school systems in Talladega County and Coosa County as well.
Right, we really do, and we have great superintendents across all of our systems. And one thing that I've been proud of is what we're talking about with Earth, and I've been able to help with more funding to help with the career technical programs at Childersburg, and I don't know if you saw, but Coosa County reopened their career tech center.
Yeah.
So I think what education needs to do is need to be providing those skills to help people create pathways towards employment, as opposed to just I mean, everyone needs to know about the War of 1812, I guess, or Shakespeare, but what we really need to know are how do I get a job and how do I sustain that job? And that's what I feel like education has kind of fallen off a little bit in the last few years, but our current superintendents across our systems are doing a great job and fully understand that it's about educating young people to become good citizens, not just be able to quote facts.
Sylacauga, Alabama has been blessed with Sunshine Saturday this past weekend, and a huge crowd was there, and the ARC does a great job, don't they?
They really do. Leah Allen does a fantastic job with that organization, and I just can't speak. I can't speak enough of the work that she does and the whole ARC board.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Before we go this morning, I want to go back to the infrastructure and the internet access. Where are we on this?
Well, we are making progress. That's all I can say is we're making progress. I'm sure if you're in the Coosa Valley network or system, I'm sure you've seen they've expanded rapidly and they're continuing to expand. The federal government has given us, as the state, hundreds of millions of dollars more. We are going to be dedicating close to $1 billion to expand broadband across the state. So
where is it most needed, you think?
We are an area that desperately needs it. There's areas across the state. Well, really what it's starting to become are pockets. There'll be a pocket in Weogufka. There'll be a pocket in, North Alabama somewhere, around Fort Payne. There'll be a pocket in the Black Belt where it's the population density. It's not very dense. It's sparsely populated. And so internet you're at the end of several lines is kind of what's becoming a problem. And so we need to fully connect all the networks.
Well, if the money's available, let's do it.
I think so too.
Absolutely. Ben, thanks for coming this morning.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate you having us and having you on the show this morning, and good luck the rest of the legislative session. And this guy, he has to keep a schedule because he's got a business. He's in Montgomery, and he's on the streets here in Sylacauga and Childersburg and other areas in Coosa counties. Ben, we appreciate you coming this morning, and have a great week, sir.
Thank you, you too.
All right, we got more Daybreak just ahead. Don't go away.